This is the first Catbird Lit video interview, and we have here today Hollis Edwards, a actor, director, writer, and rap artist, hip hop artist here in Austin, Texas. Thanks for joining us, Hollis. Hollis made a video called "Corporations Care," and it's going to be the first video featured on our YouTube channel, Catbird Lit's YouTube channel, and of course on the website. Corporations Care. Now, I'm assuming that you have watched the video already, audience, and it's hilarious. I laughed out loud, just like it. When the tone of it changed, I just like blew up. Right? It was hilarious. So we're not going to describe what happens in the video. You need to watch it, right? But Hollis, can you tell us the story of like what happened to make you want to make this video, Corporations Care?
Of course, and thank you again for the all the titles. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, director, all right, I'll take it. But I appreciate it, man. Good seeing you again. But as far as what made me, I guess, make that video was, I mean, honestly, first off, is just I like to make silly, kind of funny videos. So that was the first motivation. But for that one specifically, it was just, I believe it was about 3 months ago that I put that out. And at the time, that was kind of like when the whole, the protests and kind of like, it was when the protests were starting to really pop off, like bubble up. And that's also when COVID was like kind of just, really getting in the throes of things. And yeah, and around that same time though, you also saw a lot of corporations. You start seeing all these commercials with, corporations talking about like quote unquote woke shit. You know what I'm saying? Which
woke shit.
I don't know if I can cuss on it. Can I cuss on here?
Please do.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
I
don't want to.
Don't do it for the sake of it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, yeah, they started coming off these commercials with like, just random woke shit, which, I mean, there's a history of commercials.
Oh, woke shit.
Woke shit. Yeah.
I thought you said loke shit.
Oh, yeah,
like that old slang term, like, too loked out, blah blah blah, and we're crazy.
Yeah. What's up, Loke? Yeah, the California kind of, yeah. That's funny. Loke shit. Shit. Yeah, they started coming all this socially conscious type of stuff, which I'm all for being socially conscious and things like that. I am very much myself. It's just in my mind, as soon as I saw like a couple of commercials, I was like, yo, where were y'all at like a couple of years ago? You know what I'm saying? When we were already talking about all the same shit we're talking about now. Like we've been talking about the stuff that you know what I'm saying, that's going on now. It's just, I guess because it's convenient and I guess honestly marketable. Now it's like, oh, we care. Oh, we care about what's happening. We're here I started hearing that shit a lot too. And then I also started hearing politicians taking the same kind of tone, like, we care about you. Hey, we see you. We hear you. And it's like, well, shit, that don't help. That's like if somebody's hanging off of the edge of a cliff and then you got somebody walking by with like rope and shit and they're like, hey, I see you. I hear you. And then just keeps walking. Like you're not doing shit to really, you know what I mean? So I don't know, that just kind of got under my skin. So I was like, oh, let me just make fun of it.
So did you hear in your mind like them actually like what was that commercial that you basically used in the commercial in your video? Was that a New York Times ad that you stole from, or?
Oh, you talking about like what was I basing the commercial off of? Like which company? Or are you saying just like the actual
the first like minute of your video is like taken from somewhere, right? Or did you make that up?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I basically I just got a bunch of again public allowed videos. So, but
Right.
you know what I'm saying, for the legal team. But yeah, no, I just got a bunch of news footage from different just different I just YouTubed a bunch of different news footage basically. So I looked up, some of it was from New York Times, some of it was from like C-SPAN, some of it was from it's maybe about 20 different sources, and then I just chopped them up and then put them together to make it look like it was a, you know, one cohesive
Oh my gosh, you did such a good job. I thought it was one from one company, one like public message. Like I thought it was like real.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was the that was my goal. I was actually debating at first, just cutting off the first half where, you know, I'm like watching TV and then it goes into it, and just releasing just the commercial to make people think that it's an actual commercial. Uh, which I don't know, maybe I might re-release it, see what it looks like. But that was the original intention. But
Yeah, no, but I hear you. Like, so did you actually hear in your mind like these corporations, these companies, and these politicians speaking directly, saying like, "Black people, we're here for you."
that, yeah, right, yeah, no, pretty much. I heard them just being like, "Hey, black people, we got you. Oh, also losing your house, gotta work for COVID and stuff. Hey, we got you." Like, you know, just like they're trying to pander to black folks, and then just generally the underprivileged, or just even people who are just out of work in general, who maybe were, I don't know, lower middle class or something like that, right? And they're just like, "Hey, we totally understand." Meanwhile, like all their CEOs still aren't, you know, really necessarily people of color, or people that come from like, you know, specific means or whatever, and they're not doing anything. The politicians also same thing, not doing anything. Like some of those commercials they're, you know, addressing, usually I've noticed there was a pattern that either they're addressing uh one of the issues or both. Sometimes it's just like, we're we're talking about the riots, so this is for black people specifically. Like, and they'll show black people like, you know, whatever, and then it's like Evian, like, you know what I'm saying, like it's nothing to do with or it's like it's talking about the general situation with like COVID and like people getting sick in the jobs and stuff, and they're like, we care. That's why for 12 months you can lease a new BMW for $850 a month. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? Y'all aren't doing anything. You're just like, it's cool if they say they had been doing that for like years and years. I actually wouldn't mind it that much, because I'd be like, well, okay, well, you guys are at least like, y'all have been trying since like, you know, the 2000s or whatever to, you know, try to at least address certain issues. And then maybe if on the back end, like I said, they actually like went through that extra effort to make sure, like, let's see if we're actually hiring a diverse boardroom or whatever, you know, best person that gets the job, of course, but also there's a couple of people that are all the similar, you know, I don't know, skill sets, histories. All right, let's go for the person maybe who wasn't born in the city. This person who's from, you know, backwoods or whatever, but they worked their way through college, whatever they needed to do. Or this person of color who's also just as skilled. Like, why not? You know, and I believe like you can do that as a business person and still have like a logical reasoning behind you doing it. Like, you don't have to just be like, you're black, or you're brown, come here. Like, you're gonna, no, you can like, okay, we have a couple of candidates, all similar skill level. All right, what is our product? Like, what are we, I don't know, selling or whatever. Like, cool.
Selling. Mm.
Yeah, I'm
So
saying, like,
that
I mean, but that's what it is. But I'm like, you could still, if you're gonna behind the scenes, you can still hire those people in those positions. Maybe it's like, oh, we are a makeup company. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to have like you know, some black and some ethnic, just some ethnic diversity in the boardroom, so that when we're marketing these products to Black people or to Asian people, to Hispanic people, whatever, it's actually like accurate. You know, we don't have to worry about like making that awkward apology later because we made a fucking kind of racist or ignorant ad or whatever, you know, or even the product in and of itself. Like, oh, there are different like things you need to do for different types of like, you know, skin and hair sometimes a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, you have that knowledge of those people working there. But if you just got a bunch of the same people working in the boardroom and then you just putting out a commercial saying, hey, that doesn't do shit for us. Like, that doesn't do shit for anybody. You're hurting everybody in that sense. Just, I don't know. I'd rather than be honest and be like, hey, buy our shit. Like, if that's what you're trying to do. But
yeah, that sort of transitions us to the latter part of the video. I guess I would call that the what is it, the fried chicken part of the video.
Yeah.
So first of all, you know, from an Asian perspective, I wouldn't mind having a little bit of pandering towards us, you know, like I wouldn't mind, you know, being pandered to every once in a while. You know, we don't experience that too often. But the other side of being sort of marketed to and or pandered to is, yeah, you get that sort of that sort of feeling when you see stuff like the stuff that you were parodying in the latter half of your video. Do you want to talk about what sort of inspired you to sort of shine a spotlight on that?
Sure.
What's the story behind
that? Sure. Basically, I guess, yeah, the second part of the video was just well, to me that was the punchline, of course. So I was just switching up the tone of it. But the reason why I made that contrast in my head was just thinking that I mean, it's kind of obviously, I guess, like an extreme example, but to me, it was like it kind of delegitimizes the whole first part of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you know what I mean? Because like the first part, it's, again, without necessarily spoiling the video, but it's, you know, very, you know, emotional and, you know, and somber and, you know, whatever. And, you know, whatever it is, you might not even know that it's necessarily a commercial. Maybe it's just one of those, like, you know, donation things or info, you know, whatever. You're just like, oh, okay, they're talking about some serious stuff. Oh, okay, yeah, and then the contrast being like, now buy our chicken, like, you know, because in my head, like, okay, they're basically, at least for Black folks, but you can apply it, of course, like I said, to any demographic. But I'm Black, so I'm just thinking, I'm talking about Black shit, so I'm like, okay, what would be like the Blackest, most stereotypical, you know, thing that could be sold to Black people? So I'm like, well, fried chicken, of course. That's like the OG of stereotypes, right?
Oh yeah, and I see it all the time. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean the fried chicken commercials. Yeah,
yeah, the fried. Yeah, that's actually why I chose specifically the fried chicken commercials, because I was honestly gonna go with Apple, just like an Apple thing, but then I was like,
oh no.
Yeah, I was like, oh no. And I was just looking through just different commercials that I had found some actual, well, some pretty fucking stupid chicken commercial. It was like, there's one with the Black dude just like dancing with chicken, like. Like, you know, like, how do y'all not, like, y'all got a whole marketing team and not one person was like, I don't know if we should, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's a good look.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to be fair to the commercial, the full commercial is they had other ethnicities also dancing with the chicken. So
with chicken.
Maybe that helps.
They have any Chinese people with chopsticks going, da, da, da.
I mean, be honest with you, it wasn't that far. I'm like, I would not be surprised if they had like a I don't know, like some kind of Chinese menu item temporarily, if they would do some shit like that. They probably would.
Oh, I got it. Like they got Asians bowing down, and then when they come up, they got a big ass chicken leg in their mouth.
Type shit. It was some shit like that. So I just thought that was funny, and then also I was just like, yeah, I don't know, the contrast. It kind of shows because, like I said, the first part of it is talking about COVID in general, so that's kind of everybody, and then it's talking about the riot, so that's again kind of everybody, but then talking about, I guess, black issues or police brutality, all that kind of stuff, and again, I just wanted to show how they're really just delegitimizing the movement itself. And the issue itself, issue more being like COVID, because they show you what demographics they're talking about in the beginning of it, and I'm like, okay, cool, black folks, underprivileged folks getting affected by COVID, sick, et cetera, and then when they get to what they're actually trying to sell, it's by revealing what it is they're trying to sell, and then just kind of switching the focus. I don't know. It just seemed kind of disingenuous in my opinion. So I just figured I'd make that an extreme. Because, I mean, in reality, in the real commercials, if you ever watch them, it's like usually the commercials go more like, I don't know, say let's use Apple for an instance. Maybe it's like showing some clips, sad stuff, whoa, 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 whoa. Or if it's black shit. And then, they'll much more smoothly kind of transition like halfway through the commercial into the product. So maybe, halfway through they'll start showing people like on an Apple phone calling like in distress because their parent, might have COVID or something, and you see like the Apple flat, and and then more sad stuff, and then towards the end it's like clearly, okay, this is an Apple commercial. And then they do the thing where they show the speed of like all the different takes of people like, Apple. So it's obvious, it's much more subtle, but it's still there. And I'm like, and then sometimes it's just, like I said, it's just kind of like hitting the nail on the head. So it's like, I don't know. That was just annoying to me. And like I said, it kind of just went into not just corporations, but just the politics of it all in general. And how it delegitimizes it. Because on the ground, because I believe in being friends with anybody, what I'm saying? Not necessarily just like, if you're a piece of shit, I'm going to tell you you're a piece of shit, and doesn't mean I'm going to be friends with you. But just because you have different...
Am I a piece of shit?
I don't think you're a free piece of shit, no.
Okay. I think checking.
I think you're the shit. I don't think you're a piece of shit. That's a very distinct difference.
I think I had an issue when that phrase first came out. Like when people started calling each other the shit, I was like, I don't know if I want to be the shit.
Oh.
I don't know,
No, that's fair. I mean, I guess when it's first, I never thought about that when it first becomes a phrase, probably like.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember all these things like being initiated, like, oh, that's fat. That's fat. I'm like, is it fat? I mean, do I want it to be fat? I mean, there's some things I want to be fat, but there are other things I don't want to be fat, Anyways.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about that. I guess I never.
I'm a geek,
I guess, if I heard that for the first time, I'm like, oh shit. What?
But back to the commercials. Yeah, I mean, it's like, who are they marketing to, right? Like as an Asian, it was obvious to me for the first 30 or 40 years of my life that they are not marketing to me. And even when they had Asians on these commercials, they were still marketing to everyone but Asians, because it was like, at first the only commercial for many years, it was like Surf laundry detergent, and it was this Chinese couple, and they would bring out the Surf laundry detergent and say, ancient Chinese secret, and all of us Asians are like, what? And like, you know, this Asian couple's like running a laundromat and everything. You know, and like by that time there were very few Asians involved with laundries. You know, I mean, and so it was like, oh, that's kind of, you know, and then of course it would be repeated at school. Like the kids would come up to me and like, ancient Chinese secret. I'm like, oh my God, I'm never buying surf detergent. And then when I got older, it was like, okay, so then you start seeing Asians, they were like the butt of the jokes, right? So that's obvious, right? Okay, you know, they're using our ethnicity as humor, you know, to make fun of us and at the same time sort of sell a joke, sell a product. But then it was subtler, like, oh, there's a real Asian person in the commercial, but they're all women. They're always women, and you never see them with an Asian man.
That's true. Even in media, like, yeah.
So it was like, okay, all right, so they're definitely not trying to sell to me as an Asian American male because they're trying to chop my balls off here.
Yeah.
On national media. But eventually, I think it was about 10 or 15 years ago, me and my friend, my Asian friend who talked about these things, were like, did you see that commercial? Yeah, I saw it. It was like a T-Mobile commercial. It's like an Asian dude, and he was cool. He was like, he was not a little kid. He was not an old sort of guru type Asian. He was not like a kung fu guy. He was anything. He was just a cool Asian dude. And we were like, and we knew exactly which one we were talking about because it had never been done before. So, but anyways, so
damn.
Hollis, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just like, I don't know, because I don't know. That shit's, like I said, that shit's just annoying me back again because I'm like, man, see, that's stupid because I'm like, what? It's like going back to what you were saying earlier as far as like, you know, getting pandering is like, it's kind of messed up that, you know, certain ethnicities, in this case, Asians, are so underrepresented in media that really almost is like any sort of, you know, representation is like, well, fuck, at least they put us in this one, like, you know what I mean? But it's like, you know what I mean? But it's like, it shouldn't be like that. You should be able to be like, okay, we're in it. Now, can you give us a good one? Like, can you give us a good, like, a part that's not a fucking, you know, just a stereotype and shit like that? Like, or just completely humiliating, right? Because like, or just like, I think, yeah, like I think people were like actually, you know, saying, like, anyways, yeah, many years ago there was a show called Bonsai, and basically it was supposed to be playing off of Japanese game shows. But but if people didn't know that, they would just see these ridiculous Asian people acting really stupid and like speaking with false accents and all this stuff. And it was just stupid and then humiliating. And I interviewed one of the executives at Fox, and he was like, well, I think we've made a lot of progress with Asian roles. I mean, we have an Asian character on King of the Hill. I was like, you're talking about, you know, that you know, that horrible dude on. Anyways, so yeah, but like, Hollis, you so what are you working on right now? As I understand it, you're working on you're writing a new a TV series, and I think you're calling it Tainted Love. Is that, yes, it's supposed to be a comedy? Yeah, yeah, I'm working on so it would be it would most likely, yes, be a TV series or like a streaming series, but yeah, it's called Tainted Love. It's a dark comedy, pretty dark, I'd say. I guess just based on the subject matter. Essentially, it's about a necrophiliac who ends up falling, or catching feelings, falling in love, how you want to say it, with a girl who's on the brink of suicide. And upon meeting each other, her finding out, well, he's a necrophiliac, she offers him her body in exchange for him killing her. So she's like, hey, well, if you can kill me, you can do whatever you want with my body, because quite frankly, she's just too scared to do it herself. So that's the general premise. And then in the meantime, there's also violence and sort of chaos brewing in the city at the same time that they're going through their issues, which I started, writing it, just messing around writing it a couple of years ago. And with the current situation, is kind of, I guess that second part is a little bit more relevant now. So,
Ooh.
I mean,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Now no. Are you wait? Which situation are you talking about? You're talking about the COVID situation?
Yeah, COVID, riots, just all that, just the chaos of 2020 in general, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when I first wrote the premise, it was like the main focus was just the two characters of the male and female, spoiler alert, male being the necrophiliac, or maybe I'll switch it up. Maybe I'll make the necrophiliac the lady, and then who knows? But basically the necrophiliac and the suicidal young person, that was the main focus. And then there was a major supporting character who was kind of mixed in all of it, whether intentionally or not intentionally, and then involved directly in the chaos and all that kind of stuff was going on. But it was going to be more of like a crime thing, at the time. I was like, yeah, that's why that's also why I wanted to make it a series, because I was like, if I smush all that into a movie, that's too many plot threads and shit, going on at once. So I was like, okay, maybe make it a series. And it's like low key, this guy is like because his role is he's a drug dealer. He gives the girl her drugs and stuff like that. But he's just okay. But he's just supposed to be just super chill, whatever. And then you find out as it goes on, like,
well, he has the opportunity of creating his own dating pool, so to speak, with the emphasis on pool, perhaps. Right? I mean, all he has to do is add a little fentanyl to their dosage there, and he's got all sorts of partners, sexual partners, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, yeah. That's kind of where the second character, or not second, the supporting character, the drug dealer guy, he was going to be. I think it's okay if I say all this stuff, because it's not. By the time it comes out, obviously there are going to be some changes and stuff like that.
Look, Hollis, we're going to be lucky if we can get our friends and family to watch this. I don't know how many people are watching Catbird Lit on YouTube. Anyways, so are you in? Why necrophilia? Is this something that you have a personal interest in?
No. Specifically, what made me come up with the idea was I was in the Marine Corps, and we were going through classes and stuff like that, because there's a bunch. They don't tell you that when you sign up, but there's a bunch of just it's just like 3-4 hour long classes, and you're just sitting there, and you gotta still stay, you can't, it's not like college. You can't just, chill out, write your notes, have your phone, whatever. You're just sitting there. And you try not to fall asleep. Yeah, exactly. The 7-5, chesty pull. But anyway, so I was sitting there bored, listening to, some staff sergeant or whatever talk about whatever he was talking about. But then he started talking about, I think they were just talking about history, and then they started talking about like how they used to get rid of bodies on the battlefield and how we do it now. And so I started listening to that part, because I was like, that's interesting. I never thought about that. Like, how did they, get rid of, I mean, I didn't really know, besides just, random memories of history class. Like, I think they did something with like, they burned them or something. And so they started talking about how they dispose of the bodies. And, I just started thinking about like, I don't know, my imagination just started running wild, because if I hear something I just learned about, I just start thinking about all different kinds of scenarios with it. And quite frankly, I don't know why, but for some reasons, ever since I was little, I would always think about horror movies, which isn't even like my favorite genre of movie, but I'll always like think about horror scenarios. So I'll be like walking past the house, the creepy looking house. I'm like, oh, that'd be a good place to have a horror movie. Like, you know, or I'll walk past like, you know, some creepy looking person at a bus stop or something. I'm like, oh, what if that person just got done like murdering somebody and now they're about to go? You know, I just think about random horror type scenario. And so that one made me think about like just a couple of different things. And I was like, what if somebody like was a necrophiliac, but they weren't like super like creepy about it? And they like, you know, and I just kind of started thinking from there. And then I started actually trying to put it into like a story format, because I'm always just writing little ideas and, you know, stuff like that, as one does. And eventually it came to the point I was like, what's a contradiction? And I was like, oh, what if somebody wanted to die and this guy knew that that person wanted to die, which is kind of like biding their time or something, like just hanging out, waiting. So it started off as more of like a straight horror type of thing. Like this guy is like on the surface, you know, general, like you'd see like Jeffrey Dahmer type, like, you know, oh, charming in person, but then low-key fucking creepy. And he just
Jeffrey Dahmer was charming?
Apparently, yeah. Apparently before he killed people.
Yeah, well,
but,
yeah. I mean, I mean, I'm sure that in his mind, it was a very sort of romantic scene, and both characters were quite charming, especially him and that, you know. Anyways, I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah, I'm about to say, yeah. I'm sure to him the whole thing was charming, not just the you know, tricking him to come to his place part.
But so is there some aspect of necrophilia that you're particularly fascinated by, or I mean,
to me, I guess it's just kind of the psychology of it, because I hate gross things. So like anything involving like pee pee poo poo, I hate it. I can't. I like to laugh at it, but I can't. Like if it was presented to me in person, I'm like, what? Like get that. I can't do it. I barely can stand. I just got to the point like maybe a couple years ago where I could stand like farts for, you know.
Wait a second. Wait a second, Hollis. You were in the Marine Corps?
I didn't like farts still in the Marine, and everybody was farting in there. God damn. That's what got me used to it, just because everybody, hey, guess what? What? Chicken butt. I'm like, oh.
I'm surprised they didn't like grab you and like have a group fart on you.
I mean, sometimes because we have to be like, as they call it, nut to butt, because we be like in line, just, you know, directly back to back. And then sometimes because some of them fucking knew I didn't like smells and shit like that, they'd be like, hey, switch places with me. Let me switch. Hey, switch places. And they get in front of it. All right. I'm like, oh, fuck you, bro. I mean, I laugh about it after, but during the time, I fucking hate it. Yeah, I just hate smells. And anyway, so that's like one of the most insane things that somebody can do is have sex with a dead body, because it's like, dude, that is like it's all fun and games until you start actually seeing what a dead body looks like. It is like, that's nasty.
Oh, what if it was a dead body with your favorite perfume on it?
That's just like, that's like when people cover their BO with like Axe body spray, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that makes it better or worse. But yeah, I just psychology of it was the main attraction to me, because whenever I'm writing a character, or just, well, as an actor, even taking on a character, which in this I wouldn't be playing the necrophiliac. Quite frankly, if I was able to cast myself, I'd probably just be the drug dealer guy.
Oh man, another black drug dealer.
Yeah. I was playing it on his head, because like I said, I don't want to spoil too much, but he ends up being more than what he leads on. So like he's trying to use his kind of stereotype as an advantage. And then kind of like later on you see like, oh, he wasn't really drug dealer. I really wasn't what it was about, what he was about. I see, you know. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He
So
low key, he's supposed to be the villain. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the villain essentially. Like one of the low key antagonists that you find out. Like I'd say probably maybe halfway through the series or something. Because
how Hollis, you don't seem like the type that would join the Marine Corps. I
I
mean,
know, right?
what what the hell, man? What happened? Did
um,
did, did you owe money to someone? I mean, what?
all right. uh, the character is me actually now. No, I was in sales at the time, and I had been already kind of thinking about just I don't know, just kind of doing something to kind of just test my limits. You know what I mean? Whether it was just anything. And and I was in sales at the time, and I went to this um meeting, not meeting, how you call it, conference. I went to this conference up in LA, and it was fun. You know, they put you up in the hotel with like 500, 600 other salespeople from around the country or whatever, and you know, you drink and party and then learn a little bit. And at one point though, they had a bunch of speakers going up, you know, telling their stories and shit like that. And you know, of course, being all cynical, and I'm like, oh, well, you're gonna tell me you're get rich quick, you know, whatever you did. But a lot of them were actually really genuine, and I actually knew some of them, like from like my office. I was like, oh wow, and some of their stories are really like cool, like you know what I mean. Like some of them started off in similar situations to what I did growing up, or worse, you know what I mean, and basically made something of themselves. Like they became, well, I'm shit, wealthy or at the very least rich. Granted, it was just you know through doing sales and shit like that. So I didn't really care about that part, but just the fact that there, I saw a common thread in all of them, in that they were like, I was doing this, I wanted to do this, or maybe I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I really sat down and got honest with myself about how hard I'm going for whatever it is I'm going for, or once they figured out what they wanted to do, how hard they're actually tackling it. And
Mhm.
regardless of the sales, you know, minutia of how, you know, how they specifically got there financially, it was just more of, like I said, they started in a similar place to me. Some of them looked like me, um, and got to where it was that they wanted to go. And I was like, man, listening to that stuff, I was like, dude, I haven't been, because I've been super into willpower for pretty much even before I knew what it was. Like, oh, that's the concept of like willpower, and like, you know, will to power, manifestation, all that kind of stuff. I
Huh.
still, as a kid, was like, I just heard one time, I think it was in an anime. I heard somebody talking about put your mind to it, you can do it. And so I was like, I believe in that. And I thought I was going super hard for my goals at the time, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, um but after you know listening to that, and then like I said, I was already kind of thinking about doing something to push myself. Listening to that, I was like, man, I haven't been going hard. Like, I mean, I've been going harder than a lot of people would, but I haven't been going my 100%. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, dude, I just been maybe going 70. You know, 70%. I haven't been, and just so happens right before that meeting, that conference, I was selling cable in the stores, and I had sold this recruiter, a Marine Corps recruiter, cable. And
Oh.
you know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? And he had just kind of mentioned like he didn't really talk, he didn't really try to like, hey, have you thought about joining the Marine? You know, he was kind of like,
Mm.
I need cable because I'm paying $400 a month. And so I gave him better cable, but then he still, of course, you know, did his job, left me his card. It's like, hey, well, if you ever, I don't know if you ever thought about it, but you might, I don't know, maybe you want to join the military or something. You look like you could be a good fit for it physically, at least. So I was like,
Mm.
well, okay, you know, put his card in my, and then, you know, but then, like I said, I saw that meeting, kind of experienced that weekend, kind of went home, And I just like looked at his card and I just started doing a little bit of research. And I was like, all right, I think I do want to join the military. Because also at the time I had just gone through some mental health shit, and I was like, honestly, I was homeless for a little bit. And so
Wow.
I mean, this is like, months and months before that, like I said, all that decision making happened. So I wasn't homeless anymore and all that stuff, and I was fine. But still, like, all that stuff happened, and I was just like, man, I think I just need something to just, I don't know, just shock my system or something like that. I need to do something that is the most uncomfortable thing I can think of doing. And for me, that is, like I said, gross stuff, and then being told what to do, because I fucking hate being told what to do. Like, I
So
cannot.
yeah, you found the perfect spot. Yeah.
Yeah, like I cannot.
The
I
military.
cannot stand being told what to do. So I joined the Marines specifically just because from what I saw, they were the hardest entry level fighting force in the world to join, aside
Mm-hmm.
from maybe the British Royal Marines. But
Huh.
yeah, so I was like,
Interesting.
fuck it, I'm gonna just do it. I kind of just did it on a whim. Like I said, I did my research. So it's just like, fuck it, I signed up, did all the
How
paperwork.
how long were you in for?
I
6
was reserved.
months?
I was reserve. So my duty was for technically 8 years. Um,
Oh.
yeah. But I was active duty for like the first year or whatever as that goes, basically training and stuff. But I actually was able to, I was separated, I think after like 2 years because of like medical crap. So it was like, we don't want you around. We think it's best that you leave. So like, okay, whatever, fair enough. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, just like two
That-
years, but the training was good. I did, yeah.
Huh. So you wanted to stay, but they wanted you to leave. So you weren't doing like Klinger on MASH, were you? Um,
Oh,
Kl-
like you mean like
Klinger on
infantry?
MASH, was that
You mean like
Klinger on?
infantry or?
Yeah, Klinger on MASH, the show MASH. He would dress up like a woman um,
Oh,
on base in order to try to get out of the military. And go back home.
oh. No, I wouldn't pull the clinger. No, it was honestly what it was I had I was started having mental health issues again. Um,
Ah,
so they was like, we can't, for the safety of other people, we can't have you here. So I was
oh,
like, all right, fair enough. So yeah, I wanted to stay. Now, granted, like I said, I wasn't like just like, oh my god, my Marine Corps, no. Because like you said, like people in the Marines said, my fellow Marines, like, you don't really seem like you have the personality type to, you know what I'm saying? Because
right.
it's true. Like I'm not that kind of person. Like I wasn't like, hoorah. I wasn't as they call into the a spirit decor, as they call it. Like I wasn't into the culture of it. I was just like, yo, I just want this really dope training. I want the different experience, the perspective. But I don't really, quite frankly, I don't really give a shit about, you know, the culture or, I'm not very nationalistic at all. So like, some people join because they want to serve the country. I'm like, dude, look, I'm being rich. I didn't join to serve my country. Like I respect people who do, and like I said, there are many people who join for that specific reason. But I don't really give a shit. Like I'm not trying to serve a country that's never served me. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as
Oh,
like just for the pride of it. You know what I mean? I'll
right.
do what I gotta do. They call me up today, and if I'm still on the reserve list, then screw it. I'll go do what I gotta do. But as far as just being like, I'm gonna join because America, like I don't really care, man. Like I never lived anywhere else. America's dope. I'm not gonna necessarily talk shit about America just for to be edgy, but at the same time, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna like not talk about its flaws in the same instance. And I didn't join for that. And people join for different reasons. I will say people join the military for different reasons. in my opinion, you joined the Marine Corps either because you had family that was in it, you are very nationalistic, or like you're just fucking crazy. I was on like the latter spectrum. I don't care about the other two. I was just like, all right, yeah, I just want to do some crazy shit. Because you really have no reason to join the Marine Corps. You could
do some crazy shit. Wait a second. Are you saying that you wanted to shoot somebody?
I mean, I would say I'm not opposed to violence. So in my head, I was like, hey, look, if some people just decide to join their faction or whatever country they're in, their military, and I join my military, hey, we go at it. That's between us. You know what I'm saying? Like you like I said, it's controversial, I guess, but if to me, like, yes, it's sad, say if a soldier dies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's sad. It's that's a life lost. It's sad when, you know, if you were to kill somebody, that's a life lost.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if you are choosing to join, it's different if it's like, you know, a guerrilla faction or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in like Laos or some part of Africa and there's like child soldiers or something. You know what I'm saying? Or they're part of something. They didn't really have a choice in that. And in that case, if I was like in that situation, honestly, I probably wouldn't shoot. Like, at the very least, I wouldn't shoot to kill. It's like, hey, look, man, this is just a rough situation. But ironically enough, it seems that the U.S. is never actually involved in intervening in those situations, like trying to go out there, fix it, whatever. It's more of where the money is, which those factions are usually, like I said, they know what they're doing. So it's like I said, crazy shit. So to me, I'm just like, hey, look, this is the warrior way. If you decide to be a part of this life, then if you lose your life, it's sad, but it's not a surprise. You know what I'm saying? So like if I had a fellow Marine die, that's gonna hurt. You know what I'm saying? Just because I know we have that brotherhood, sure. But like, if anybody's like, it's just so crazy. It's so crazy that he's gone. Like, can you believe it? It's like, I mean, I can believe it. We picked up a gun and pointed it at somebody. You don't think they're gonna shoot back? Of course they are. Like, we joined the Marines specifically because, like, we are. There's a saying where they say it's like the United States doesn't need the Marine Corps, right? They don't need the Marine Corps. We're good with all of our, it's the smallest fighting force, but they want the Marine Corps because they're the ones you send in to get shit done and then get out, or go in, get shit done, and then be the last ones to leave, which is why the training was so intense. But so
yeah, it's like, it's so shocking he's dead. It was surprising. You know, it's sad. It was sad and silly to hear people, you know, after 9/11 and stuff say, you know, why do they hate us? It's like, you know, it's like people don't realize, if you shoot at people or blow up their country and stuff like that, they'll be pissed whether or not whether or not you think you're doing it for their own good. You know, we're gonna blow you up for your own good. And you should be, no, people are getting pissed. So some part of the population is, no matter what reason you're there for, if you're blowing stuff up, they're gonna blow you up, right? So I mean,
exactly. That's just how I look at it. I'm like,
so where are you from, Hollis? Like, where are you from? Like, what context what kind of environment did you grow up in? Like, time and place?
Oh, of course. I was born 91, so 90s baby.
Wow.
Yeah. We call it. I'm from. I guess I'm from Dallas, technically.
Okay.
Yeah. So
technically.
Technically,
wait, you're from one of the suburbs, right? I'm guessing.
No, I'm from the city. I just say technically because we moved in and out of the suburbs because, like, my parents were divorced since I was like 2 or something. So my mom would just move around a bunch. I don't know why, but, you know, insert psychological or economic reason here, whatever. But we just move around a lot. So like every year we were at a different school, more or less. So it was like North Dallas, Plano, North Dallas again, Rowlett, Dallas, Oakland, yeah, Oakland. Like pretty much, if there's in Dallas, I've probably been there. Besides like the really nice part, so maybe not Highland Park. I don't think we ever lived in Highland Park. We never lived in like downtown, But generally, North Dallas area. That was kind of like, I guess, the home base, because that's where we would always go back to. It was kind of like my mom would go to a suburb. I'm assuming, not to completely read my mom or whatever, but I'm assuming it was kind of like she would go to a suburb because she wanted to kind of taste some of that life, you know what I'm saying? Even though we didn't really have the means to be there, you know what I'm saying? Dave Chappelle had a pretty good a joke recently about his upbringing, and I'd say it's pretty similar to I can relate to that. He was like, people think that I just grew up in the hood, like, I'm just straight up just from the hood all the time. He's like, I'm not from the hood. No. We were just poor enough, or we had just enough money to be poor around white people. So that's right. More or less what it was. It's like different periods of sometimes being like, well, destitute, and then sometimes it's like, we got enough money to be poor to white folks. That's about it. So I think she just kind of wanted to taste a little bit of that, and then that year will go up. Oops, we can't afford it. Let's go back to So, but it was cool.
Yeah, I think our family was smart enough and had enough income to live, in an upper middle class sort of neighborhood, and still be in the third world.
Yeah.
Like my parents in a lot of ways just never left the impoverished Chinese culture, being impoverished in China, right? Like we would just like pretend like we were poor all the we would reuse I swear you use one side of the toilet paper, you turn it around and use the other side.
Yeah, fold that shit.
That is exactly what I was taught when I was a small child. You use both sides of every piece of paper, even toilet paper. So yeah. So, but yeah. So you came out of Dallas, and yeah. And did you went to college somewhere? Or?
Yeah, I went to I eventually did move in with my dad, who did live in the suburbs, because he had a pretty good job with like the police department and stuff. And from there I went to UNT, University of North Texas. I went there for about 2 years, along with like a stint at Richland College, and went for film, left there, and like came to Austin in like 2013. But I didn't finish. I just stopped, came to Austin. I told my parents I was coming to Austin to finish, to go, I'm going to go to UT and finish there because they have a good film program. But really, I was just trying to come to Austin because I had visited a couple of times, and I saw that it was a very creative space. Everybody was really open. It just kind of fit my my, I guess, weirdness more. Like, you're allowed to kind of be yourself more, which is more brown folks, but it is what it is. But everybody was still very friendly and very open, and receptive to. Like, I remember just going to a couple of open mics even when I first started like rapping, and everybody's just, it was very different from Dallas, which I don't mind the Dallas audience, I guess you could say, when it comes to like performance and stuff, just because it keeps you sharp, you know what I'm saying? It keeps you competitive, because they're very like open and honest, like, hey, you suck, like, or that was dope, but in Austin was like, even if like you'd see people clearly didn't know what they were doing, but just trying to express themselves, have fun on stage for like an open mic, and they're just like, yeah.
They're doing this. They're snapping. They're saying, "You do you. You do you.
You do you. Look what." Yeah. So I just like the scene. So yeah, so I just moved over here.
That's cool. That's cool. Hey, I'm thinking we got to wrap this up. I got to go feed my kid.
That's
he's
important.
looking at me through the window.
He just look.
He's like, Daddy, I need to eat. All right, so, but yeah, hey, really appreciate you, you know, submitting that video. It's hilarious and awesome interview, and hopefully we'll see more of you. You know, either on Catbird Lit or see you in some of these shows that you're auditioning for. You know, with Netflix or AMC or whatnot. So, all right, man. I will. I'll talk to you later. Any final words?
Yeah, man. Thanks again. What's up?
Plugs? Any plugs? Final plugs?
Oh, right. Yeah, plugs. Let's see. You can find the video at The World of Void on YouTube. So that's Z as in zebra, ZA World of Void, VOID, on YouTube. If you're a JoJo fan, if you're in the anime, you probably get the reference, but you can find that on YouTube under that name, as well as Instagram under that name. Plugs.
Hire Hollis Edwards.
Yes, that's the name of the channel, is The World of Void, but yeah, Hollis L. Edwards the third is what the owner's name will be. My name will be on the channel. You can find me on Facebook under that as well, Hollis L. Edwards the third. Check out Catbird Lit, you know what I'm saying? It's lit, you know what I mean? Pretty cool stuff. It reminds me of like those old school, you know, like editorials, like type of deals, you know, with like the cartoons and stuff like that in there, but just like with like a modern kind of like spin to it. I don't know. It was pretty cool. I like the way everything looks and the way you laid everything out. But thanks for having me, Irwin. I look forward to seeing more of the stuff you got coming out, because if you didn't know, Irwin's actually a really talented writer himself. He has some really cool scripts that I've read for. I would like to see it as well. So
we need to make Harold and the Kung Fu Accountants. Yeah, you need to be in there. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get it going. Thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it, man.
Certainly, my pleasure. All right. Well, we will see you later, Hollis. All right. Take care, man.
All right. See you, Irwin.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.